What's up, everybody? Doug here, and give me 1 second. We're gonna have a little bit of background air noise before we get started because basically, it's hot and 97 degrees, and I am currently working in what was voted. I don't know. Lake Charles was voted the most humid state in the United States for sure, but I don't know if that was like a world thing. I think it was just Lake Charles is the most humid city in the world and in the state. So that's what I'm dealing with. So I'm gonna have to have the air going for just a little bit here, uh, just until we get kind of moving and we can kind of bring the temperature on the vehicle down a little bit. But yeah, this is another solo episode. Basically, I just randomly had a day on the summer visitation. I was supposed to have the kids, where I don't have any kids in the car on the ride home, and I am just going to pray that nobody calls me because I decided to do this at the very last second, and I didn't tell anybody I was doing this. So if they call, it's not their fault, and I'm just gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. But yeah, so last week, by the time you hear this episode, we had the episode where Leo and I talked about Skelethrone, which is a review he'd been working on. It's a demo. And then also we had a review of Ghostwire Tokyo. Now that was actually an interesting one because I had actually recorded an episode where I had reviewed Ghostwire Tokyo on my own, and I was kind of saving it as like a bonus series I was doing where, as I got through games in my backlog, I would record an episode of just me. And I think I might still bring that back because I've recorded two of those episodes so far, and the first episode was Call of Duty 2, but I think I might just start it over again because I just started Destiny 2 because the Final Shape DLC came out and it's getting a lot of very, very, very good reviews. So I'm starting off at the Beyond Light campaign. I'm really enjoying it so far with a few caveats here and there about how Destiny 2 is not very good at telling you what you need to do. But I'm going to save that for another day. Uh, But yeah, so we talked about Ghostwire Tokyo and Skelethrone, and it was a fun episode. And we've been having some technical difficulties here and there with pertaining to what's the word I'm looking for? Signal loss. So on this particular episode, I tried a different route home, and the experience was much better. The signal loss was still there a little bit, because apparently there is no way to get from Louisiana to Texas and keep your signal strong. Uh, but yeah, it was a lot better. I'm going to start taking that route when I'm recording podcasts. But all that being said, I have two more shows that are currently booked at this moment. Now, for sure, let me think about this. I got to look at the calendar because it's like the first weekend in August. I'm pretty sure. Oh, dang it! That's not what I wanted. Uh, August 2nd and 3rd at the L Bar from 8 to 12. I'll be playing down there. Uh, it's actually the first time that I've played a show that Emily's not going to be there since we've been together. Well, I've done things here and there where audition type stuff, but I've never done a full show without her there. So it's going to be a little bit different. And then it's subject to change because I'm probably going to be getting a new job. I'll probably have a new job by then. But September 20th and the 21st, that's my other dates that I have booked. These are all at the L Bar and La Berge here in Lake Charles. So if you want to come down and check out some music, I'll be happy to be down there. And I've actually been toying around this idea for a while. I think I'm going to start doing some TikTok videos, uh, because it just seems like an easy, not easy thing to do. That's it just seems like a thing I could do to kind of branch my music out a little bit, kind of get more people to know who I am. So just kind of, if you've seen TikToks of the podcast before, then you've probably already followed me on TikTok. But if you ever see the Night Ride Home TikToks going around, just go ahead and follow that account. Unless it's not me. If it's not me, then don't do that. They stole my stuff. But But yeah, all that being said, what was the point of today's episode? I had a point. Oh, so I've got a review to go through today, and then it depends. We'll just get through this review and we'll see how we're doing. So the review is for a game called Questmaster. It's a game similar in the vein of. Sorry, this person was being a really bad driver. Uh, it was a game in the vein of Mario Maker, but instead of making Mario's 2D platform levels, it has basically it's Zelda Maker. It's the Legend of Zelda Maker. It's basically what it boils down to. Uh, you start off and you're in a game that looks almost identical to Link to the Past. I mean, it plays just like it. It looks like it. The only thing that's different is some stylistic choices, but it plays just like it almost. Uh, and one of the issues I have with the game pops up almost immediately here, and it's that it does not tell you what to do unless you start talking to people. That could just be a thing with me where I got so used to just like having a thing that's like, hey, go over there, and just going about it that way. I you kind of lose that part of yourself as a gamer whenever, especially when you have kids and you start to get more responsibilities. You you start to play games that are just like I don't want to waffle around here. Just tell me where I need to go because I've got other things to do. Uh, but yeah, so it doesn't really tell you what to do, but you can talk around and kind of figure out where you need to go. And you've got to go get a sword, and then you can after you get the sword and you do the combat tutorial, that's when you can get to the real meat and potatoes of the game, which is you can go. I don't know why I'm blanking on that word, but you can go and start making your own dungeons, and you have a limited amount of stuff that you can make at first, but you unlock some more stuff as you go along. Sorry, taking a drink break there, and it works just as well as you'd want it to. You can design your dungeon however you want it with what the tools that you have. You can make rooms filled with enemies. You can make puzzle rooms. You can do all kinds of stuff and then you can also make multi-floor dungeons. And then there's a little crystal thing, and you put it somewhere in the dungeon, and that's what the player is going to need to get to. Once the player gets to, your dungeon is cleared. I will say that there is not, again, there's no tutorial, so the game just kind of expects you to figure it out. And while this game can be played with a gamepad, I would recommend if you are like me and you like to play on a gamepad, get a keyboard and mouse as well to go along with this because the dungeon maker aspect works a lot better on keyboard and mouse, and playing the dungeons feels better on a gamepad. So if you have both, then you've got a much better experience than the normal player is going to have with this. Now, like some things don't always seem to work all that well. Like it took forever for me to be able to like place items in chests, and sometimes it was kind of awkward to place like good lord, there's an Amber Alert blaring in my sorry, there was an Amber Alert. I record this podcast with my AirPods in my ears, and there was an Amber Alert that just came out of nowhere and just blared that siren sound in my ears. Uh, anyway, so you have where was I? Like especially when you go to making a multi-floor dungeon, sometimes I would place a stair, and when it would go up to the next floor, it would just kind of be janky at first. Like things wouldn't. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. Like I'd be going forward to get up to the floor, and then I would place the stairs. Like when I would try to go up into make the upstairs room, for some reason I wouldn't ever come out where I wanted my player to come out. Not that big of a deal. This is an early access game. It's just there's little janky moments like that. But where I had the most fun was actually going. You just take a quick little step outside, and you can look at maps that other players have uploaded. And this is where I had the most fun because this game is, again, it's an early access, so you've got a budding community, people that are slowly getting into this game. They're figuring out what they could do with the tool set that they have at the time. And they're only going to get better at using that tool set, especially as the developer adds more to said tool set. And seeing as it's an early access game, I bet they will. Uh, excuse me. There were so, there weren't any maps right now that are going to blow you away, but there was enough maps that I have a lot of confidence in this community. Like there was one where there was a guy testing out RNG. So you would go in and you would pull a lever, or you would pull a lever, or you would shoot a switch, one of the two, and you would get a random chest. And you had to get something to light up a crystal, so you had to get the fire wand. And you basically had to keep pulling the thing until you got the chest with the fire wand. And just stuff like that. You get stuff where it's experimental, and then you get stuff that's just downright funny. There was one where it was a love letter to Andy or something like that, and it's like, this is a tribute to my friend Andy, who's a streamer, and it has like a Twitch handle underneath it. And you go and you're walking down this long, endless court. Well, not endless, because you get to the end of it immediately, and it is so long that you get to the point where you're just about to say, I want to give up. But then again, I've been walking for so long, I don't want to lose all this time that I've been walking. And then, like, right when you're about to give up, you come to the end of this corridor, and you just see a big message that says "Andy sucks" written out on the floor, and just stuff like that. Man, I laughed so hard with those, and joke maps like that were always my favorite in like Mario Maker. And you would have the in games like Mario Maker, you'd have like the auto run levels, and I think that it's gonna be not that much longer until we see stuff like that in Questmaster. Uh, so yeah, Questmaster is a game that is a it's fantastic as it is. I can only see it getting better. I wish it had more tutorials. I get the feeling that you want your game to not feel too handholdy, but tutorials just do so much for the player. And if you get more players in, you're going to get a better community. And I think that as they continue to grow onto the tools that they have for the people that make their own levels, I mean, you can go so far up, but if I don't know where I was going, you can only go up from here. I don't think they can make this game worse at this point. I think that this game is great. They can only make it greater, and I definitely recommend it to anybody who's looking for something a little bit different. Uh, so we've only been recording for about 13 minutes. So I think what I want to talk about next is where I'm at as a gamer in 2024. Uh, so right now I've been going through, but before I started playing Destiny, I went through kind of like a gaming rut where I've just been playing a bunch of different games and not having them keep me. And like every now and then I'll hit gold and I'll have something that I play for a little bit. Uh, but I think that 2023 was such like a wild year for games. And then we get to 2024, which is, don't get me wrong, it's had some great games on it. But when you compare it to what we had last year, at this time, last year, I'm pretty sure around this time I was. I don't think Final Fantasy 16 was out yet, but it was close to being out. I remember that. Uh, we had Tears of the Kingdom around this time last year. That's what I was playing a lot of at the moment, and just having these mass experiences. I remember at the end of the summer getting into Baldur's Gate 3 and just being a game that blew me away at the time. And right now I'm playing a lot of, you know, lives, what's the word? Live service games. Uh, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. I've been playing Destiny 2. I finally got Emily to play Final Fantasy 14. And what a game that is, by the way. Because this is a game, I want to say I tried it a few times before it finally clicked with me. And Emily had tried it twice before, and it didn't click with her. And she, like, the third time is when it finally, she's like, okay, I like this. It is a game that has such highs and lows. Like, the the way the quests are spaced out is you have like you have your main campaign, and each main campaign has an epilogue. So you've got A Realm Reborn epilogue, Heavensward epilogue, Stormblood epilogue, Shadowbringers epilogue, Endwalker epilogue, and then Dawntrail is coming out in less than a month. And Emily and I just started Stormblood, and I really wanted us to be caught up for Dawntrail, but there's no way. There's no way we're going to make that date. I think I saw something earlier where, okay, the day's the 13th. So, like, I think there's like 19 days until Dawntrail comes out. So, like, even if we booked it, we're not making this. We're not making it. Uh, but I'm almost glad for that, because I think at that point we get to, by the time we do get to Dawntrail, the areas are going to kind of be cleared out a little bit. Like, the people that rush in on day one, they're going to be gone, and we're going to be able to do things a little easier. Uh, I am excited for the new quest they're going to put in. I think that's going to be a really fun time. And what I'm considering doing is going, go, you know, going ahead and buying Dawntrail for myself. That way, when I get to, I think level 80 is when the Viper class starts, playing the Viper class. But there's not, okay, so getting back to the point of, after the Xbox showcase and Summer Games Fest, and just announcements that happen kind of like around that area of announcements, my gaming list that I'm going through right now has absolutely tripled. Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 just got dropped on Game Pass. So I downloaded those. And then Alan Wake 2's DLC got dropped. And what this isn't really a spoiler, but to get to the true ending of Alan Wake 2, you have to do New Game Plus. And when you play through as on New Game Plus, then that's when you get the true ending. And I never played Control, so I wanted to play Control. Like, the plan is to play Control, then do New Game Plus and Alan Wake 2, and then I can do the Night Springs DLC, which episode 1 is out now. I don't know about 2 and 3. But going, even further than that, we've got Starfield that just had its update. People are saying it's a lot better of a game now. And then Redfall got an offline single-player DLC where you can play the entire game offline single-player, which is something that I've always wanted. It's the only reason I haven't played it. I think that Redfall is a fine game. I think it is a game that I can play and enjoy. The only reason I have not been playing and enjoying it is because it's locked online. And a lot of times when I'm playing my games, I'm, playing it, at the cigar club, or I'm playing, in a parking lot while I'm waiting to go into my church to do like band rehearsals and stuff. Or, this week Grayson's got his All-Star games coming up, so I'm gonna probably be spending a lot of time in a parking lot there waiting for the games to start. Just stuff like that, where I'm playing in a place where no internet. So now, adding on to all those other games I just talked about, Redfall and Starfield's been added into that list. Those are two, seemingly beefy games. And then adding in the stuff that was announced at the Xbox Showcase, the Fallout 76, was something I've been wanting to get into for a while now. I'm wanting to play that now because it's got a new DLC that just dropped. There's another one. Hold on, I'm going to get it in just a second. Oh, and to compound all that, every single Kingdom Hearts game just got dropped onto Steam. And I can get all of them for $60. And I'm actually thinking about doing it. So, you know what? Fun story. We're going to throw this in here. I was looking at a game that was on sale for $5 earlier in the Steam store. And I hit purchase. Didn't look. I was like, this is $5. This is fine. Let's just go for it. I hit confirm, and then the first sign that I had a problem was I looked at the email and it said, "We'll let you know when your order ships." What would Steam ship me? This is a digital product I just bought. So the night before, Emily and I were talking about getting a Steam Deck OLED because we are pretty much solely handheld gamers now. That's pretty much all we do. We had put the Steam Deck OLED in the cart. I forgot about it. I didn't see it when I put the $5.99 game in there. The scream I scrumped when $625 came out of my account. It was absolutely one of those moments where, like, when you hear, like, in the audiobook, it's like her face paled. That was me. My face paled. Uh, but that was a little bit of a tangent. Going all the way back here. All the Kingdom Hearts games are on Steam, so, like, I went from having no games to play to a lot of games to play. And looking at the slate of games that Xbox just announced, which, by the way, what a banger of a showcase. If you have not watched the Xbox 2024 showcase from Summer Games Fest, you've got to go watch it. It's pretty much the only time where I've seen Sony fanboys go, like, we got to give it to them. That was awesome. Like, I'm a big Kind of Funny fan, and I get kind of annoyed sometimes when they kind of dog on Xbox, and sometimes they'll show, like, watch a PlayStation showcase, and I'll be like, that was mid, and they'll be like, oh, that was the best showcase of the year, 10 out of 10. I was shocked that they gave it 10s across the board, except for Blessing again at 9.5. And, I'm going to have to go back and actually look, because the amount of games that they announced, they didn't give dates for, but they said 2024. And, I mean, we've got Dragon Age Veilguard coming. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I wasn't excited for. I am now. I'm not excited that it's 300 gigs. I think that should be illegal. But, like, all the stuff around it, absolutely I'm excited. Oh, yeah. I'm super excited for this. Uh, Diablo 4's DLC, I'm pretty sure that's coming later this year. I'm always down to get back into Diablo, which leads to the question of, do I need to go back and bolster up my rogue that I played through in the main campaign? Do I have to get him to level? I'm gonna, I'm gonna have to look into that. Uh, but yeah, it's just gone from a year where I haven't really had anything to play to I've got so much to play, and I also this shames me as a gamer to admit it, but I have let Final Fantasy VII Rebirth kind of slip through the cracks because I famously fought hard to get a PlayStation Portal. I finally got it. And then when I got the stupid Portal, Chiaki finally updates to allow you to access your PlayStation 5 wherever you are with an internet connection. When I tell you how mad I was when they did that, because I just bought this thing for that reason, because I love Chiaki. I don't like how Chiaki was, confined to a home network only. But now that it's anywhere, I felt like I wasted my money on this thing, and I'm actually, working. I'm going to trade it in soon, depending on how good the quality of the. I'm going to test out that. I'm actually buying a power adapter because Emily wants to play some DLC for Shadow of the Tomb Raider that she didn't know was a thing, and I'm going to plug in the PS5 and test it out tomorrow probably. And if the connection is just as good, buy PlayStation Portal. I won't need you, because the thing about the ROG Ally, and it's ultimately the reason that I stopped using the Portal, was because I don't want to have a wired headset anymore. Bluetooth earbuds are where, if I've got to struggle to flip this headphone cord back and forth, I don't want to use it. Uh, so yeah, just an abundance of riches when it comes to things to play right now. I've kind of just been rambling on. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Uh, Next week, Leo and I should have more stuff to talk about, and I think we've got some more reviews. I've got 2 reviews that are embargoed right now, and I've got to figure out when those embargoes lift, but they should lift by the time that comes out. So thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. My name is Doug, and I will see you next time.